Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Carly and you're watching Sewscape, and I have a really fun sew along for you guys today. So we are going to be sewing from the June 2024 issue of Burda Style. I just love these colors. I love the cover. I get so excited when my Burda Style magazine comes every month. So yeah, this cover model is a dress I'm going to make, but I'm not going to make it today. I'm going to show you guys. So the dress that I'm going to be sewing along with you guys today is Midi Dress 109. And this is from the June 2024 issue of Burda Style. It's nice and simple, gorgeous. It has this lovely kind of like flouncy ruffle. We'll look at the pattern piece and we'll see how they do that. I'm looking up at the neckline. I might lower that a little bit here, but we'll make it as is first and then go from there. So this is looking like a really simple dress. So if you're new to sewing or new to sewing with Burda Style, let's sew this together. And so my favorite thing about sewing a really simple design is picking fabric that is super fun, because simple designs make it so that your fabric can really be the star of the show. So the fabric that I am going to be sewing with today is this lovely viscose that I bought from Fabricland. So it is this gorgeous viscose. It has this really cute leaf and flower print on it. I have 3 meters of this. I don't know how much fabric this calls for, but we're just going to make it work. So follow along with me if you're interested in sewing this dress or just seeing the journey of me sewing this dress. So let's get right into tracing. We're going to pull out the pattern pieces. When you get Burda Style magazine, you open it up and right in the middle, there's this kind of like papery, like pattern paper, and they're stapled in. So you just open up the staples and then pull out this pattern piece and then you get started. So once you get it out, you're left with this sheet that you unfold and it turns into a giant pattern sheet that is double-sided and all the patterns are nested together. It looks crazy, but just trust me, you'll be fine. So you cut down the dotted line down the middle, make sure you're cutting down the right dotted line, and then every side of the pattern piece is labeled by A, B, C, or D. So when you go in your instructions in the Burda Style magazine, it'll let you know whether you're tracing pieces on page A, B, C, or D. And so all of the patterns that come included in Burda Style don't have seam allowance already. So you have to add your own seam allowance, whatever you like to do. It recommends a seam allowance on your pattern piece. It's usually 5/8 of an inch. I usually do a centimeter just because the ruler that I use doesn't have the 5/8 of an inch. I have one that does have it, but I prefer my thicker like quilting ruler. I just find it's easier for me, but you do whatever works best for you. So you always have to add seam allowance and we have to trace off. So we have to make all our own markings, but it's okay, don't worry. This is how you truly customize for a perfect fit for you. So I'm gonna open this up and we will separate those pages and we'll start looking at where we're tracing. All right, so when we flip to our instructions, we're looking at page 13 of the instruction booklet that's inside the magazine. And it's split into 2 pages, so we'll have to flip, but that's okay, it's easy to keep track. So this pattern goes from a size 36, a European 36, to a European 48. So that's a pretty big size range as far as like Burda goes, so that's amazing. So it says recommended fabrics are dress fabrics with some body. Original fabric was a viscose fabric, which is what we're using today, but use whatever you want. I feel like it will change the finished look, but hey, you do whatever you want. And so we will start off, it says that it is requiring 3.1 meters of fabric. I have 3 meters of fabric, but I feel like at the fabric store, they always cut you a little more because of shrinkage. I'm just gonna see how it goes. We're hoping that we make it, but it's gonna be tight. And then you need some interfacing and a zipper foot and an invisible zipper. So I have an invisible zipper that kind of goes with this super dark navy color. I keep wondering, like, is it navy or is it black? I bought navy, but we'll see. It'll look fine. No one will notice. So in this pattern pieces, we're gonna be tracing out pieces 1 through 6. So that is a front on a fold, like a front bodice, a front skirt panel, a back bodice, a back skirt panel, and then front facing on a fold for the bodice and a back facing on a fold. And the front and back facings are also armhole facings. So that's how we're gonna finish our neckline and our armhole seams. So let's start out tracing. Alrighty, so once we have all of our fabric cut out, we're gonna start with the sewing. So once we have all of our pattern pieces cut, we're gonna do all of our markings on our fabric. So we need to add a bust start marking on pattern piece number 1, the front bodice. And then we need to be making a mark where the zipper is to end. And you know, there's other markings, like there's like a waist seam marking, which I'm gonna note because I'm only gonna cut my bodice to the waist seam. I'm gonna add my seam allowance below that because I want my bodice to sit at my waist. It's looking like this pattern is a bit of a drop waist. So I'm gonna do that. And I seem to have like a shorter bodice anyway, so I don't want it to be too long and like hitting like mid stomach on me. So I'm going to make a note of that waist marking and cut along that, add my seam allowance to that. And yeah, apart from that, make sure you're adding all your directional arrows so that if you're using a directional print, it makes sense for you. Because of the nature of the circle skirt, it might look crazy if you're using a directional print, but hey, do whatever you want. So after we make those markings, we're going to cut out our fabric. We're gonna transfer it onto our fabric, and then we can get started on sewing. The first step to sewing this dress is going to be sewing up the darts on the front bodice. So we're gonna sew that seam and then we're going to press those darts down. After that, we're gonna sew up the side seams of the bodice. So not the shoulder seams, just the side seams. And then we are going to either overlock or finish those seams however you like to finish your seams. I'm gonna use an overlocker, and then we're going to press them. If you neaten the edges separately, you can press it open. I'm gonna neaten mine together and just press them towards the back. Now we are going to stitch the side seams of the skirt. So stitch those together. If you're neatening those, you can neaten each of the sides separately and press them open, or you can neaten them together and press them towards the back, which I am going to do. Now we're going to pin our bodice to the skirt. And so we're gonna match up the side seams and then just distribute all of the space evenly. And we're gonna sew that together. I'm gonna neaten mine together and I'm going to press it up. So I just got the bodice attached to the skirt and it is looking so cute. I'm gonna have a cup of tea after I press this, and then I'll start working on the zipper. Now we're gonna start on our zipper. So I'm going to neaten each edge of the whole back, so one side and then the other, not just where the zipper goes, the whole length of the dress and the back seam. And then I like to do my zipper by sewing up the bottom up until our marking, and then back stitching and then basting all the way up to the top. And then I pin my invisible zipper in, I baste it in, and then I sew it once I unpick that basting. It might be wild. I'm gonna link a video down below showing you exactly how they do the zipper. I'm not gonna take credit for this because I learned from this creator. So I will post that down below, and if you're looking for tips on an invisible zipper, you can go watch her video. So now I have the zipper all sewn in, and I have attached the side seams of the facings together, but not the shoulder seams. But I folded the seam allowance. I've pressed the seam allowance out of the way at the shoulder seams because we're gonna sew right sides together by hand once we attach this to the dress. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sew the neckline and the armholes right sides together to the dress. I'm gonna overlock it so it clips all the curves for me. I'm gonna press it, and then we can sew up the side seams of the dress itself, not of this. So we'll fold these out of the way, sew up the side seams of the dress, overlock it, and then sew the side seams, I keep saying side seams, the shoulder seams of the facing together. and then it's gonna be done. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to pick my son up from school. I'm gonna see how, like, what we're gonna be doing, if I'm gonna continue sewing or if I'm gonna finish this project a little later, but I will see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye. So a few days have passed. The last day that I worked on this dress was on Monday. It is now Friday. So I have the dress completed except for the hem as far as the instruction goes. But when I tried it on, I found that the waist was like very loose and I like a tighter fitting dress. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unpick a centimeter above the waist seam on either of the side seams, and I'm just gonna sew up a long, thin, probably 1 centimeter tie bands. So I'm gonna sew up some tie bands. I'm gonna pop them in those side seams so I can cinch it in or still wear it loose if I want to, but at least I'll have the option to kind of cinch it in there. So I'm gonna sew up those bands now and then finish up the hem, and then this dress will be done. I love this dress. The fabric is so buttery and delicious. I love wearing this. I've worn it to work already. I finished this video about a week ago, so it's nice to film this little reveal for you. I'm glad I didn't get any hair color on it at work. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have the most wonderful rest of your day. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.